And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Lanny Ford, Juju Phillips along with you here. We have a new Open champion, one of the youngest ever, and it is Colin with 2 L's, I believe I heard him say yesterday. Is that correct?
Yes.
He is your new Open champion. And the biggest story about the Open Championship, if I understood it correctly, was weather did not play a part.
It did not.
Which is usually the case when you talk about the British Open. I still call it the British Open, but they just call it simply the Open. I watched it Saturday morning, watched it yesterday morning, long enough to go to church and eat breakfast, and then back and saw it till it was over. Kenny Weaver, Derek Long, good morning. Glad to have you guys with us. Weather did not play a part. Ugly rough. But watching Morikawa play yesterday, he would get in trouble, but it didn't seem to bother him.
Yeah, he played, I don't want to say flawless, but he was unflappable, maybe is a better term, but he played really well. You talked about the weather. I think it was the hottest Open ever.
Yeah, mid-80s, low mid-80s.
Yeah, and which is very comfortable weather around here, but there you expect a lot of wind and
Scotland?
rain. No, it was off the coast of England.
It was in England. Okay.
South of London.
Okay.
Off that would be the eastern coast.
Okay.
The cliffs of Dover near
the cliffs of Dover. Yeah.
Yes.
And absolutely loved the pot bunkers.
Yes.
And some of the trouble. It was nice to see these really expensive golfers hitting it like I hit it sometimes out of those pot bunkers. But it was a good tournament. I thought it was a good tournament. I know that Bryson DeChambeau, whatever it is, he fell apart. He melted. And Bruce Koepka finished on – when you talk about whether you've done well in golf is if you finish on the first page. You know how they do the scores.
Yes.
If you're on the first page, when Bruce Koepka was on the first page. So it was a nice Open. I thought it was a good Open. Not a lot, like I say, not a lot of controversy, very little wind and rain, and that you usually are associated with the Open. The thing that people don't understand is with the Open and with where it's located, you're in the North Atlantic, and that can be some ugly seas from where that's at any time of year.
Yeah, any time of year, but you normally, when you think of the British Open, you think of a lot of that wind and rain and fog sometimes. And, that adds to the intrigue a lot of times, how the golfer is going to play with Mother Nature. And just did not see that. It was just I would call it like a late spring day around here would be in the low 80s with not a cloud in the sky.
Tatum, good morning. You know, I'm going to tell you, when you think about weather over there, and I've never been to this place, but I would, if you want to compare it to somewhere in the States, the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, that area. I've heard a comedian talk about he moved from he was born in Seattle, moved to Southern California, and then moved back, and he said, you have 7 months that you don't see the sun in Seattle if you add it all up. And I think of the British Isles basically the same way because of the weather over there. There's not really great weather. I worked for a company in Charlotte that we were owned by a company. The company was Alfred McAlpine Heavy Construction, and they sent two people. They sent a guy over to be our president, and they sent a guy over to look after our shop, all of our equipment. And the guy that was the president said he made the comment that he didn't have to be this far away from home to experience the weather. This was a time we were having lots of rain, lots of clouds, and he said, like, I came over here expecting the weather to be better. I can get this and never leave. So it was an unusual weekend, and people think, well, in England, they're in the northern hemisphere just like us, so they're having summer just like we are, but they don't have the same kind of summer just because of like the Pacific Northwest, those record-breaking temperatures they were having, 110, 115.
Unusual.
That was very unusual, and the same thing that was over there. So it's not just in this country that was happening. But a great win for him. I want to say they said he had 31 straight bogey-free holes to end up the tournament. I believe that was one of the things. He's 24 or 26. I can't remember, one of the youngest Open champions to ever be. And I just thought he showed a lot of maturity, a lot of poise. As he went through it, I thought he's 24, but he plays like an aged veteran. This was his first Open. A feat that has only been accomplished just twice in the previous 25 years. So it was a good one. And the other thing that I find unusual about the Open that I like to watch, they have a jeweler, engraver there on site, that when the winner is announced, you watch him put the jeweler glass in and do the engraving on the claret jug.
Wow. Yeah. Right on site. I
right
did not
there.
know that.
Oh, yeah. They'll show a picture. He's doing it. He's doing the engraving of the jug right there. So it's quite the event.
He won the PGA Championship last year, and I think I read some stories that they were asking him what was it like to have, because there were no crowds last year. And this is his second major win in 8 tries, so he's 25%. Good luck there. But it was unusual, the fact that I think they even had a record crowd there yesterday, over 30,000.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a great crowd.
And for him having to win the championship, the PGA title back when there were no crowds last year, and then to win it this year, and for him to be, as you said, so even-keeled and so unflappable, says a lot about him.
Richie, Kerry, good morning. Glad to have you guys. Ben Curtis did it 18 years ago, won his first Open on his first time. You have to go back to 1975 to Tom Watson for that to happen. So it hasn't been done very often. It hasn't been too many years ago. In the last inside 5, let me say, Tom Watson was in the running at his age for the Open. He's always played the Open well. It's just I've never really had a desire to go over there and play the old course and those, because it is so different from what we're used to over here. I mean, the golf is not, take the weather out of it, but just the course conditions and everything. It's very, very different from what we experience here. But he did a great job.
Was that the best golf tournament played over the weekend? The other one that was played in Kentucky went to 5 or 6 extra holes before they announced a winner. And I thought it was unusual. I don't know if you watched any of it. After they tied in regulation, they went 18-18, 9-9, and then 18 again.
Most of the tournaments now have a predetermined sudden death format. I was trying to think, what was the one that they went to sudden death a couple of weeks ago, and they played the same hole over and over.
Yeah, that's what they did yesterday. They played the same hole twice, and then they went to 9 and played it twice, and then went back to 18 again.
There's and it used to not be that way. It used to be you would go to 10 and start the back 9, and you just play through. And I don't know when that change was made. I don't know if that's a course-by-course decision. I don't know if that's a PGA directive. The other thing was, it used to be the Opens, the U.S. Open and the British Open, both were 18-hole playoffs. They were not a sudden death, and they've changed that now. And I can't remember if the Masters was that way at one time or not. The Masters, I think, has always been, you go back, and the reason I can remember is you go back to the one that Greg Norman imploded, and the guy that was from Augusta won it in a playoff, and he won it on 11.
Larry
Mize. Yeah. They started on 10. You start the back 9 and play through, or you do it the Masters. And even that maybe has changed. I don't know. But it's kind of weird, like you were saying, maybe it's a local course thing. Maybe they've got certain holes that they designate that this is where we need to do the sudden death so that we can get it over quickly or something.
And I watched it, and they never gave an explanation why they were playing back-to-back the same holes and then go to 9 and play it twice.
that tournament a couple of weeks ago, they did the same thing. And if I'm not mistaken, it was hole number 7, and I cannot remember where it was at. Richie said he thinks that you play the hardest hole, so maybe you go to the highest-ranked handicap hole, and that's where you start.
I think in that event yesterday, number 9 was a par 3, and it didn't look I mean, they didn't say it was particularly hard.
That's an unusual hole for a sudden death hole to be the first thing you go to.
Yeah.
Now, if you're playing through the back 9, that's different. But to pick a par 3, I don't like to start on a par 3. Like if you're doing a shotgun start where everybody just spreads out across the golf course and you start on the hole, hate to start on a par 3 because you don't quite get loosened up and ready to go.
And the reason I was watching that, the kid
Morning,
from Hickory,
Tyler, Tim.
JT Poston, was in the playoff, and he led the tournament throughout and kind of made some mistakes in the last 2 or 3 holes before sudden death, and then I think it was the 4th or 5th hole of sudden death. I mean, he came within an inch of birdieing a hole and would have won it then, but he ended up losing it too. And I can't remember the kid's name. 28-year-old kid from East Tennessee State University, and of course JT Poston went to Western Carolina. But that was a pretty good golf tournament, and they went down, and it has to be. I mean, how when you talk about extra like that and sudden death, when you play 6 holes, I think it was 6. Yeah, 6 holes, sudden death. Is that unusual?
Well, you play until you got a winner.
Yeah,
or it gets dark.
And it was getting dark too.
Yeah. I bet it was. Now, one of the other things, for the week, 4 rounds, Morikawa just made 4 bogeys. For the week.
And didn't do one on the last, how many holes?
31.
31 holes? That's amazingly consistent.
This article on ESPN says he hit the ball like Jack Nicklaus and putted like Tiger Woods. He became the first male golfer ever to win 2 major championships in his debut appearance in each. He won the PGA for the first time he played it in 2020. Yep. So, and speaking of Tiger, I was on a show last week. Somebody asked about Tiger, and there's no news, no updates, nothing. Tyler said in the U.S. Open they play a whole extra round if they're tied after 72. I thought the British used to be that way too, but yeah, that's the way it shapes up to be. It's just a
and Tiger's living in Florida, right? Outside of Orlando.
That's right. I believe that's right. I haven't, like I say, I haven't really kept up with him.
No.
After everything happened. I hate to say he's become an afterthought, but he kind of has. And the person that I heard last week, something about a specific bone in his foot, depending upon if that bone was able to be fixed so it could heal normally, or if that bone got crushed and would not heal properly, would determine whether he could come back and play. And I wish I could remember what show that was on and a little more details about it, but I don't. I don't remember what that was at all.
What about our buddy, the golf guy, Charlotte?
I need to catch up with him. I haven't. Greeny.
Greeny.
Yeah, Greeny might know. I haven't known that. They also, this was in Sandwich, England, as you said, and this was Royal St. George. Historic. Those courses over there are kind of like, say, a Pinehurst over here, or Augusta, Pebble Beach. But I think a Pinehurst number 2 is the closest thing historically. as far as the golf course is concerned. For Rembert is watching from Mickey Land.
Okay.
Yeah, he's down in Florida. I think he's going to give us a call tomorrow.
Okay.
And kind of update us on what's going on down there. I'm still pissed because he's there and I'm not. Because I love Mickey the Rat. Let me take a quick break. We come back. The NBA Finals is underway. We have a lead, and it's the underdog, so to speak, has made that change. We'll mention that next.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. Glad to have you here this morning. TJ Thomas, good morning. Dave Willis, Milton Saint, Jack Huss, good morning. 4 says, He has walked 50 miles and gained 11 pounds. I think that's special. That's amazing that you could do that for. I thought it was supposed to work a different way, but we'll take your word for it. I promised you a little NBA update. I promise I won't go long because it's just not one of my favorite sports. I'm sorry if it's yours. The Bucks have taken the lead now. We're down to 1-1-1, or now down to 1-1. And the big news here is the Bucks took a win at the Suns, which is what they were going to have to do. They were going to have to win at least one there to be able to win the championship. And I hate to say it, but I don't really have a dog in the fight, but I wanted to see the Suns win because of Chris Paul. He's played so well, and that's the only thing really missing from his resume. But it looks like maybe it's not going to happen.
Well, with the parts that I saw and the things that I've read, some of the highlights, it seems like Milwaukee has really clamped down defensively on Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. And they allowed the other guy, the other big scorer, Devin Booker, to go over.
He's not played well.
In the last 2 games, he's gone over 40.
Okay.
Each game, but because apparently they focused on slowing down and stopping Chris Paul. And Milwaukee seems to be a team maybe of destiny. They lost the first 2 games and won their 2 home games. I was up in Wisconsin last week when I think they won the game 3 and game 4. And, I mean, they're crazy up there about the Bucks, even though we were in Madison, which is an hour and 15 minutes away from Milwaukee. But they love the Bucks because they have not won in such a long time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they seem to be, again, they have the Greek Freak, and he is a guy that seems to make everybody else around him play better, which is a sign of great leadership. And they seem to be the team right now. And they held serve. They won their home games, and they went to Phoenix, as you said, and stole home court. Now they can wrap it up with a win at home this week.
How do you feel about the length of time that it takes to play the playoffs in the NBA, and especially the finals? They're taking 2 to 3 days between games in the finals.
With nothing else going on, it seems like they've gone back to where they used to do it. And last year when they were in a bubble, they didn't do it as much, not nearly as much.
Well, that's because of the travel, and I get that.
Yeah.
But still.
Well, I mean, in some sports,
Tim.
you have whoever has home court. You have the first 2 games are, I guess, against it's 2-3-2. I think is the way I saw it. In baseball, they do it.
Yeah. Now in basketball,
it's 2-2.
It's 2-2, 1-1-1. Mm-hmm.
I could see from travel. I mean, if going from Phoenix now to Milwaukee to wait 3 days and then you got to go back in 3 more days, they shouldn't have to do it that way. I mean, it's not like they've played I know they've played a lengthy playoff
But if
series,
you go 7 games, you're almost 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's been like that for a long time.
I know. I just think it's
though I don't remember
too much.
Yeah, the Celtics when they played the Lakers, Bird and Magic when they played, and they were always going back and forth,
coast to coast.
It didn't seem like they were waiting 2 or 3 days. It seemed like maybe every other night.
Now, in baseball, when you get to the baseball playoffs, you play back to back and then a travel day, right? You don't have all this time.
That's right. And when you have a lot of length is when in between series. One series in baseball may finish up.
Well, that's because – and they can start earlier, but I don't think they do because they have to prepare in case you go the full distance as far as the next series starting.
And I'm sure they're concerned about ratings and everything. I saw where baseball's All-Star game last week outdrew the NBA Finals. Now, I'm not so sure.
Wasn't any.
What?
The NBA took 3 days so they didn't interfere with the All-Star game.
Maybe. But the All-Star game ratings were better than what people thought it would be. And I think they outdrew either Game 1 or Game 2 of the NBA Finals.
Okay, now
Yeah.
that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Not overall, but just one game.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't on the same night, obviously.
Right. But I think, and I've said this before, I think basketball and baseball are too long. 4, don't bust a vein while you're down there. Basketball starts in October, and it's going to be August practically before this is over. 10 months for a regular season is just too long, or 9.5 months.
Did they start the NBA season this year a little later?
Late because of the
the previous
season
year,
before.
COVID.
But this year, it'll get started, I want to say mid-October is when they start. And 9.5, 10 months for a season. Look at the NFL. They don't start regular season games till the week after Labor Day.
Yeah.
Right? And then the regular season's over in December, at the end of December.
It's
3.5 months.
Yeah. It seems like with basketball, normally the NBA Finals are in June.
I was thinking that too,
Yeah,
but I
it
think
usually
everything
is.
got – but
It got-
still.
That's still a long time, 9-10 months.
Mm-hmm.
Way too long.
When you think about sports from the collegiate side, you think about them coinciding with, with the professionals.
All
except
sports
for
seasons
baseball.
are long, and they're going to
Yes.
get longer. If we go to a college football extended playoff, expanded playoff,
I want regular season cut back.
they may do that.
12 and 13 games, regular season. I mean, if you don't
That's
have a
too many.
playoffs or you don't have a – didn't I see that if they go to the 12-team –
They can go up to 16.
16 or 17.
Yeah, 16. Well, I guess maybe, depending on how many regular season games a team, they could conceivably play 17 games, which is longer than the NFL season, obviously.
Yeah. Let me take a break. We got coming up in just a few minutes, Mark Parker from the Hickory Daily Record is scheduled to join us. Back with more here on The Bottom Line.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
In the best of times, times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. Glad to have you here this morning on the bottom line. Rainy Monday. Rain came through last night. Still coming through a little bit. We're going to head to our guest line. Covers the Crawdads for the Hickory Daily Record, Mark Parker. Mark, thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, thank you. Sorry about calling late. The boss called about 2 minutes before I had to call you folks.
No, you're not late. You're not late. We're on till 9, so you're good. We're good to go. Appreciate you taking the time out. How is it to get to you? Juju says you cover the Crawdads. How is it to get back kind of in the swing, and can you notice a difference from last year, the year before when we had baseball?
Did I notice what? I'm sorry?
Have you noticed a difference? Are things kind of back to normal, crowds, all those kind of things?
The crowds have been actually very good this year. The midweek games actually have really popped up. For whatever reason, the weekends have been a little slower, but I think overall, given the circumstances, and I think some people are still kind of wary about doing crowd things, but I think overall, I think they have to be pleased with what the crowds have been.
Hey, Mark, we were at a Crawdads game a couple of weeks back, and I asked the questions to some of the fans that were in the booth with us that I wanted to know from you, or from your perspective. New league this year, high A from low A. Can you tell people watching and listening, have you noticed, is it better baseball now that the Crawdads have players that maybe are a little bit more seasoned to what they used to be?
I think what you'll see, fewer mistakes is what you get at this level. Fewer mistakes. I mean, there's still going to be there. There's a vastest difference between even high A and double A and triple A and so on. So fewer mistakes, but it really doesn't matter what the level is. You still have the same thing of, can pitchers figure out how to get you out, or as a hitter, can you figure out how to reach base? I mean, and that's essentially the cat and mouse game that you always have. The breaking balls are a little better. The idea for the hitter is, can you recognize spin on a breaking ball? They're better, obviously. Can you catch up to a fastball? Everybody, even at low A, most anymore, can throw 93, 95, 96, 98, whatever. I mean, that's not going to change. But the fastball is a little sharper, have a little bit more life. But there's still a cat and mouse game of batter versus pitcher, and it's just the aspects are better. So yes, a bit. I don't know that the normal fan would see. Yes, that's definitely a better product than low A. But if you would watch it between high A and the major leagues, it's definitely a better product. But you're looking more at fewer mistakes of free bases, for example, fewer walks, fewer pass balls, fewer wild pitches, fewer whatever. That's the thing that you probably would pick up on more. You definitely would notice it in the fielding. Guys can get to baseballs better around the infield, for example, or so it's more the little things that you would pick up on versus, well, this is definitely a better product, high A than low A, at least from my perspective.
Hey, also from your perspective, when you look at the way the teams played, is it more, I know with the Crawdads now being owned and run by the American League Texas Rangers, more important for development or winning at this level?
At high A, low A, it's more about development. Even really double A, it's more about development. Double A is more, however, gets more into they want to see results. You have the tools. We believe that you have a skill set that's going to make you a major league player. Now we need to see the results from those tools. High A, it really is more development. You're not going to see even more now. You're not going to see the 9-inning shutout. That's a pretty rare animal anymore. You basically have, for example, again, the starting pitching. You have a routine. You're going to start and you're going to throw this many innings, and then somebody else is going to be scheduled to throw a relief inning or two, and that's more scheduled. Especially for the relievers, you think of, okay, I've got to bring in a reliever to face this hitter. That really doesn't happen at this level. They're scheduled to pitch on this particular day. They're scheduled to they're going to throw so many innings. A starting pitcher, you might see him get lit up for a couple of innings, and you think, well, why don't they pull this guy? Well, it's his day to pitch, and he's going to throw. Unless he's just really flustered or he has a really long inning, he's going to throw and get his pitches in. At this level, they will work on pitches. So sometimes you'll have a situation where maybe a guy's working on a changeup, and he's learning how to throw that changeup, and they'll want him to throw that, even if he's getting hit. With it, they want him to learn the feel of it. They want him to learn how to place that. Mm-hmm. So it really is more about development. Do they want them to lose? No, but they want them to develop skill sets and develop pitches and develop. The guy might be working on a swing and they're breaking that swing down, and so they'll have them process that through the course of a game or two or a week or whatever. And they want them to, for example, maybe see the ball longer into the strike zone, hit the ball the other way. They want them to see that process. And so really is more of this level, more of a development of tools. Mm-hmm. When they get to double A again, they want to see, okay, you have the tools, now we want to see you succeed with it.
When we're talking with Mark Parker, Hickory Daily Record covers Crawdads, I enjoy baseball, but I'm not a diehard baseballer. But I've been to some Crawdad games, and that was the first thing nobody prepped me for when I went to a Crawdads game, was watching the Crawdads, I hate to say give away a game, but they did because they make those scheduled pitching changes. So Success from a manager standpoint at this level is not measured in wins and losses and winning at the end of the year, but it's about how many kids can you improve and advance to the next level to keep it going through the organization. Right,
exactly. That's exactly it. Again, they don't want to assume lose.
No.
They don't.
But they do have something else scheduled to do. I don't want to say winning is not the top of the list, but it's not really. It's pretty close, but not exactly as much as it is developing the players that are out there.
Exactly. Let me go back to your first question, if I could make one as far as the high A and the low A. One thing that I don't think folks will pick up on is especially now, low A is really the first level that the guys will play 140. It is the first level. They'll play 140 games. Or now it's 100. This year it's 120. It'll go to 132 from now on. We're not only playing every day, but they're also, guys that are coming from different backgrounds, college, Dominican, high school, and it's the first time that they really are out on their own. They're paying bills. They're making a light bill payment. They're figuring out how to pay the rent. They're doing all of those things. And so, it's not just the baseball. It's how can they manage life off the field at this level, at low A level. Now that they've done it for a year, that part of that is high A's. Now they've also can figure out how to manage a lifestyle along with the baseball. Mm-hmm. So that's probably another part of it. Now we will see guys, instead of 19, 20, 21, we'll see now 20, 21, 22, 23. And a year or two of living the lifestyle, does make a difference.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, you've been covering the Crawdads for a number of years, and I'm sure you've been asked this question before. I remember when I was following the Crawdads, some of the best players I saw that eventually made the majors, from Derek Jeter to Maglio Ordonez to Andrew McCutchen and Andrew Jones. Who are some of the players over the last few years that you have watched and seen that they maybe are the best players you've seen and or have made it to the major leagues?
There's 189 that have made it from, that have played at some point in Hickory. Mm-hmm. As far as from the Crawdads, Joey Gawley, obviously, was a big impact player here, a 19-year-old that just had tremendous power, even as a 19-year-old. It's just unworldly. They have a scale. Scouts will have a scale of 20 to 80, 80 being highest. And he is one of the rare players, even as a 19-year-old, who had what was called 80 power, just top of the chart power. Probably my favorite player to watch, home or away, that just had unbelievable skills at that level, it would have been Jason Hayward, who played with Rome back in 2008. Had some time with the Braves. I think now was with the Cubs. Just a guy, 6'5", 6'6", that had speed like a deer, light tower power. He's probably the most gifted player I've ever seen, just all levels. We had Madison Bumgarner, obviously pitched here at the ballpark in 2008 with Augusta at the time. Other players, my favorite player probably would have been a guy now catching with the Texas Ranger, Jose Trevino, who was just a foundation of that championship team. Catchers, especially at this level, have to go through so much and learn how to do so many things, not just hit, but catch pitchers and how to field the position. He was just such a foundation for that team that won the championship that year.
Yeah.
So those are some of my, just off the top of the head, that just players that that made an impact for me.
Let me ask you, with the baseball draft just completed, and people that follow baseball watch the College World Series this year, and one of the stars for Vanderbilt, Jack Leiter, picked number 2 in the draft to the Texas Rangers. What are you hearing? Is there a chance if he signs, will he wind up playing for the Crawdads either late this year or next year?
I would lean towards next year. First, they have to sign him, and that's going to be an interesting. Process to see how that plays out. If the Rangers, obviously, the guy, he's not going to get there's only one step to go up from being number 2 overall, and that's being number 1. And the risks are, if he doesn't sign, then what happens if he comes up with the torn elbow ligament and has Tommy John surgery, and then what do you do? But he's got a good situation at Vanderbilt. He has actually 2 more. He's a draft eligible sophomore, so he would have 2 more cuts at this. So, first of all, can he sign? And indications are that folks believe that he will. The next part of that is, okay, what do you do with him? He's had a full season already this year with Vanderbilt, a lot of stress innings. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to see him this year, but it wouldn't be a surprise. They sign him and say, we're going to shut you down and bring you back for instructional leagues this fall in Arizona, and we'll get a good look at you and see where you are. The Rangers have had a tough time keeping pitchers healthy, and they're kind of trying to figure out how to do that. They've had several different processes. They've had, for example, just thinking the college level pitchers that they've drafted. Number 1, Chichi Rodriguez, 2014, went to high A for a brief cup of coffee, and then he had trouble staying healthy. 2015, Dylan Tate came here after he was drafted number 1 in the first round. He was the 4th overall. They brought him here, but then only let him pitch an inning at a time. So it's going to be, since he's had such a full season, I would be surprised if you brought him here.
Gotcha.
They might start him here next year, but have a pretty fast ticket for him to move up.
One final question before we let you go, Mark. What is the career expectancy of working your way through the minors before you realize I'm not going up and you kind of get cut loose?
It depends on a variety of things. It's really more, what are your tools? What do you bring tool wise? I'll tell people, I had a conversation with a guy a couple weeks ago who was talking about there's a pitcher named Justin Slayton, who was a 3rd round pick in 2018, I think it was. Had a tough short season after he was drafted. No, it was 2019. Had a short season after being drafted there. Then COVID shut things down, and then started rough here. He was a 3rd round pick, but he's getting hit all over the ballpark. Well, do you cut him? No. I mean, he's going to pitch. He's 6'6", has a 96 mile an hour fastball. He's going to get a lot of chances to pitch. And he's had some success in the last couple of starts. It really is more of what are the tools that you bring as a hitter, as a pitcher. That's going to more determine how long you stay. Age has some aspects of that. If you are a 20-year-old at this level, like Jonathan Ornelas, 20-year-old, 3rd round pick out of Arizona, out of high school. He struggled some here, has picked it up as of the last couple of weeks, but he has tools. He has unbelievable tools, whereas this guy that's 24, 25, that's struggling at this level, he may have some tools, but the clock is ticking. So age is going to vary some of that. Tools are going to vary a lot of that. So that would be my best answer for you.
Okay.
I was going to ask you, Lanny had one final question. While we have you here right now, do you think there will be baseball next year, or we're going to have a shutdown?
Well, minor league will play.
No matter what.
Minor league, well, if you remember back in, was it 94 that they had the strike? The minor leagues played. Mm-hmm. So the minor leagues aren't going to be affected. It'll be the guys that are major league or part of the union that will obviously be affected. So unless we have another COVID season, we're playing here.
Okay.
I'm surprised. I didn't realize that you had to make it all the way to the show to be part of the union. That was news to me. I figured everybody was.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Mark, thanks for joining us, and love to have you on again, and appreciate you taking the time out.
I appreciate it. Anytime.
Thank you, sir. Mark Parker from the Hickory Daily Record covers the Crawdads,
And if anybody reads and follows the Hickory Daily Record, he also covers high school wrestling and volleyball and some of the other sports as well, high school football on Fridays.
Okay.
And he's been around for a number of years, so he's does a really good job of writing feature stories too, I think.
Got some on this day today, or
I do.
If you don't, I got some.
I got
you
some.
Go ahead.
You got some.
You go ahead.
Let's go way back. 1877, the final match of the first tennis tournament at Wimbledon was held.
You know who won?
I do not.
Spencer Gore.
All right, congratulations, Spencer.
William Marshall, 6'1", 6'2", 6'4".
Okay.
How about that?
1909, first unassisted triple play in baseball history made by Cleveland Indians shortstop Neil Ball. Came against Boston. I guess it was a line drive. The guy first and second, he probably tagged the guy going from second to third, went over and caught the ball, stepped on second. There was a guy running from first to second, ran over and tagged him out. Something like that. Also 1909, Cy Young, baseball pitcher, earned his 500th career victory. And you have that right there. 1927, Ty Cobb amassed his 4,000th career hit. 1960, Juan Marichal, San Francisco Giants pitcher, became the first pitcher in baseball history to get a one-hitter in his major league debut. Houston Astrodome opened on this day in 1966, first game on artificial turf ever held in baseball history.
Well, I did not know that.
Let's see. 1986, Phil Niekro won his 307th career game. Pete Rose on this day in 1990 sentenced to 5 months in prison for tax evasion. And then in 1996, opening ceremonies at the Olympics, the 26th Olympiad held in Atlanta, Georgia.
I think the official opening ceremonies are Friday, but I think softball and some other sports get started tomorrow night.
Oh, really?
I believe I heard that over the weekend.
Okay.
Todd Wembley, good morning. Annette, Bob, Wayne Ward, good morning. Glad to have you folks. Chuck, good morning. Good morning, Sissy Lee. She says John Cena is back. Must have been a WWE event last night if John Cena is back. Let me give you a couple of events that I have over here. The first Tour de France finished on this day in 1903, and I think the Tour de France finished yesterday.
Think so.
I believe. But that was their inaugural one. 1920, Babe Ruth hits his 30th home run of the 1920 baseball season, breaking his own single-season record. He would attain 54 throughout the season before breaking that record the next year. He was the only one breaking the home run record. He kept breaking his own home run record. 1922, the best-known Tarzan, American swimmer Johnny Weissmuller, first to break the 1-minute barrier for the 100-meter freestyle. In Alameda, California, he swam it in 58.6 seconds. Richie said it finished yesterday, even though it was pretty much over 4 days ago.
I read a book earlier back in the spring about the Tour de France during World War II, and there was a biker or a cyclist from Italy who turned out to be kind of like a spy during the Tour de France. I don't say he was transporting people, but he was finding places where they can transport people from out of Italy that were either prisoners or they were trying to hide. They were of Jewish descent. They were trying to hide them. So he would be, as he was going on his Tour de France, he would figure out places, and he had a system that they'd get people from out of Italy into other places, into France.
Wow. That's a neat story.
Yeah, it is.
In 1942, Germany occupiers confiscated bicycles. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
That would have been around the same time. 1933, the first time in Major League Baseball, two brothers on opposite teams hit homers in the same game.
Brothers on the opposite teams.
Yep. Rick Farrell for the Red Sox and Wes Farrell from the Indians.
Okay.
They were playing against each other.
Okay.
Let's see. 1973, New York Mets future Baseball Hall of Famer Say Hey Kid Willie Mays is named to the National League All-Star team for the 24th time,
Wow.
tying Stan Musial. 1975, New York Yankee catcher Thurman Munson, first inning single and RBI, are nullified because tar on his bat handle exceeded 18 inches.
Another one of those dumb baseball rules. Why do they even have pine tar right now? Why do they even have pine tar on baseball bats?
For grip, I guess.
Well, you got
I don't
these
know.
gloves. You've seen guys in pro football. These gloves are sticky enough.
I got nothing. 1981 British Open men's golf was played the same place it was played this weekend, Royal St. George's, and American Bill Rogers wins his only major title, 4 strokes ahead of Germany's Bernhard Langer. We haven't even got into it. I do want to talk about this one day. What has happened to boxing? Boxing used to be a huge sport. I got some thoughts on that. Remind me to talk about that sometime.
MMA and all it's morphed into other things.
1987, Don Mattingly sets American League record of extra base hits in 10 consecutive games. 1989, NFL owners vote unanimously to form the World League of American Football. What was that? Why don't I remember that? That was from 91 to 07.
George Shinn owned the team in Raleigh. They were the Skyhawks. Remember them?
Where'd they play?
In NC State.
Okay.
Yeah, played one
Was it
year.
in the spring?
Yeah.
Okay.
They went 0-10. Their coach was Roman Gabriel. Their quarterback and offensive coordinator was Joe Pizzo. I remember that because we carried the games on the radio station, and Gary Hahn did the play-by-play, and I can't remember who did the color. They were the only team. They went 0-10.
Okay.
The Raleigh-Durham Skyhawks.
In 1989, Cleveland Indians' Joe Carter has his 4th 3-home run game. So 4 times he hit 3 home runs in the same game. That's pretty impressive.
Yes, it is.
That's pretty impressive. Of course, you had Pete. 1981, Cal Ripken played in his 1500th consecutive game.
That's the first time I've seen Cal Ripken in glasses. I've never seen him in glasses
He's
before.
getting older.
Yeah,
just in case you haven't noticed. We're not.
There's Tom Watson.
Yep.
Not 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Okay, there we go. That's the one I'm thinking about. This was in 09. It was longer than I thought. British Open men's golf Turnberry. Stuart Sink wins his only major championship by 6 strokes in a 4-hole playoff with 5-time champion Tom Watson.
Yeah.
So I hope they played 8, but I guess not. It was a 4-hole playoff in 6 strokes. Tom must have blew up or something.
Yeah, blowed up indeed.
I don't know. I'm kind of amazed how that is. Any birthdays?
Yeah, a couple of birthdays today. Okay. Football. Dino Babers, who's the football coach at Syracuse, 60 today. Born in Hawaii. Tight end Hawaii. Former Redskins tight end Jerry Smith turned 78. Leroy Butler, Hall of Famer. I think he's going in this year in the Hall of Fame, or has been in the Hall of Fame. 53 today. Former Georgia head coach Ray Goff, 66.
Was Ray Goff ever a coach at Alabama or played Alabama?
I don't think. Maybe you're thinking of Ray Perkins.
Okay, maybe I am. Okay.
Rick Ankiel, who played both ways. He was a pitcher and a hitter for the St. Louis Cardinals, 2-way player, 42 today. Current Washington Nationals pitcher Patrick Corbin, 32. One of the one of the first draft picks of the Charlotte Bobcats. Born on this day, Adam Morrison. Played at Gonzaga. I think he
never quite measured up.
No, he played 3 or 4 years, was the 3rd overall pick in 06 with the Bobcats. He's 37 today, and speaking of the Phoenix Suns, one of their star former players back in the 70s and 80s, Alvin Adams was a center, turned 67 today.
Ilie Nastasia, Romanian tennis player, was born on this day in 1946. He won the U.S. Open in 1972. Jason Stark, American sports writer for The Athletic, was born this day in 51. He turned 60. I can do that math. I had last did you do Stuart Scott? You did, didn't you?
I did not.
Stuart Scott was born on this day. We lost him in 2015. Great American sportscaster. Eye cancer, wasn't it? I believe that was right. That's where his cancer was, if I'm not mistaken. Leroy Butler.
Yeah, I got Leroy in there. His birthday's today. 53.
I had a birthday last week. I think it was over the weekend even. It was the great Rosie Greer.
Oh, yeah.
Last member of the Fearsome Foursome, still alive, I think. 89. I saw a picture of him. Did not recognize him.
He's lost that much weight?
No, he's just changed so much. But I remember Rosie with just a big grin on his face and a big round face all the time. This guy was just looked considerably older. Of course, at 89, I'll give him that. I'll let him be looking older. That's okay. But thanks for joining us this morning. Juju will be back tomorrow because 4 is celebrating with Mickey Mouse all week.
And a big week for football, right? We have media days, SEC, ACC media, high school football team practicing. All-Star
game is Thursday.
Is this week. So, yeah, we're getting back into the swing of things.
The hottest football week of my life was when I did that. It was miserable. That's all I'll say.
Well, they've started practicing over the weekend, and it's been raining, so it won't be as miserable.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But we're right on the cusp, starting another football season.
We're getting there. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.